There is a truth far deeper than what our eyes can see. My name is Jackson. I was only 34 when everything changed for me in a way I will never forget. Before I go further, I would like to invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. If you've ever had a deep experience or if you've felt something beyond this world, I'd love to hear from you. And please consider subscribing so we can keep walking together through more stories like this, stories that bring us closer to the light. I had been driving home after a long shift at work. I was tired, but I didn't think much of it. The road was quiet, the kind of silence that almost feels peaceful, but in seconds that peace was torn apart. I don't remember all the details, only the blinding lights of another car and the sudden crushing impact. Metal twisted around me, glass shattered, and then, everything stopped. No sound, no pain, just a sudden stillness as if the whole world had gone silent. I realized I was no longer in my body. I was floating above the scene. I wasn't sure if I was dreaming or drifting, but I knew I wasn't alive in the way I had always known. Instead of fear, there was this strange awareness, like I had stepped into another layer of existence. At first, I thought maybe I was in some kind of foggy dream, but as I looked around, I knew this was no dream. I then saw a light from a distance. It drew me to itself gently as I approached the light. It was a tunnel of light round around me. It was warm and inviting. I flooded through this radiant light. Then I found myself in a place unlike anything on earth. It was a city, but not alive like the ones we know. The buildings stretched tall but broken, the streets wide but empty. Everything was gray, lifeless, and heavy, as though the air itself was weighed down by sorrow. People moved through the streets, but not with purpose. They wandered, their eyes empty, searching for something they couldn't find. Some moved in circles, some stood still, and others looked lost as if they didn't even know who they were anymore. There was no sound of laughter, no warmth, no direction, just endless wandering. And as I stood there watching, I felt a deep ache in my soul. It was as though this place was not just around me but pressing into me, whispering hopelessness. I wanted to call out to the people, to ask them where we were, to ask them why they seemed so lost. But when I tried, it felt as though my voice could not reach them. They didn't notice me. They didn't even see me. At that moment, I knew with certainty, this was not heaven and it wasn't hell either. It was something else entirely. A picture of something coming, a world covered in confusion and deception, where people would no longer know where to turn or how to find their way home. As I stood in that lifeless city, the weight of sorrow around me grew heavier. The people were everywhere, yet it felt lonelier than I had ever felt in my life. I could see them moving, but their faces were empty, drained of hope. It was as if they had lost not only their way but also the very sense of who they were meant to be. Some clutched their heads in confusion, others shuffled along with tired steps, and many seemed to have simply given up. In the middle of all that silence and despair, a presence entered the place. It was not like the others wandering aimlessly. It was living, bright, and full of authority, yet so gentle that it drew me in without fear. I cannot describe him with human words, but I knew instantly who he was. It was Jesus. The very air around him was different, warm, alive, and filled with peace that this gray city had never known. When he came near, I felt my soul tremble. It was not from fear, but from an overwhelming sense of love, the kind that makes you realize how small you are, yet how deeply seen you are at the same time. His presence cut through the heaviness, and suddenly, all the wandering and silence faded, as if time itself stopped to make room for him. He looked at me, and though he did not speak in the way we hear voices on earth, he revealed things to my heart so clearly, it was as if I had always known them. He showed me that this place I was standing in was not the final destination of souls, but a vision. It was a picture of a world that would come, a world wrapped in spiritual darkness where truth would be hidden, and people would no longer know what was real. He revealed to me that in those days, deception would be so strong that people would believe lies as if they were truth. Many would wander in confusion, not even realizing they were lost, just as the people around me in that gray city walked endlessly with no destination. Some, he showed me, would still carry a faint light inside them, like a small flame trying to survive in a storm. But for many there would be no light at all. They would not even know where to turn, because they had chosen to live without him, the true light. I felt tears inside me even though I had no physical body there. The thought of so many people walking in circles, never finding the way home, broke me. And yet, standing in his presence, I also felt hope, because even in the darkness of that city, his light shined brighter than anything else. He was reminding me, and through me, others that there is still a way, there is still truth, and there is still life, but only in Him. As I stood in that strange city, held between sorrow for the lost souls and the comfort of His presence, He began to show me more. It was as though a veil lifted, and I could see beyond the gray streets and broken walls. I saw the world we live in now, but it looked different. I could see crowds of people, entire nations, busy with their lives, working, building, chasing after pleasures, and following voices that promised them happiness. Yet beneath it all, I saw the same emptiness I had witnessed in that desolate city. He revealed to me that the time is coming when the truth will be hidden from many, not because He wants it hidden, but because people will choose darkness over light. He showed me how deception will rise like a fog, slowly at first, then spreading until it covers the earth. This deception will not always look evil on the surface. Sometimes it will look good, even attractive. But at its core, it will lead people away from Him. I felt the weight of this truth pressing on my heart. I wanted to argue, to say, but surely most people will see through it, surely they will recognize the lies. Yet in my soul I understood that many won't. They will be blinded by pride, by greed, by the love of things that do not last. And in their blindness, they will wander endlessly, just as I saw in that city without color or life. Then He showed me something else, something that gave me a deep ache, yet also stirred hope. He revealed that even in the darkest times, there will still be those who carry His light within them. Their light may seem small compared to the weight of deception around them, but even the faintest flame has the power to pierce the night. These people, He told me, will become beacons, guiding others toward the truth. They will not always be many, and sometimes they will be mocked, rejected, or even silenced. But their light will shine because it does not come from themselves, it comes from Him. In that moment, I realized something very personal. I was being shown this vision not as an outsider, but as someone called to carry a responsibility. I felt it so clearly. I was not meant to remain in that place. I was being prepared to return, to wake up, to live again, and to carry this message back with me. The weight of that calling shook me. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel strong enough. But His presence assured me it was not about my strength, but His. And even though I felt unworthy, I also felt deeply loved. That love gave me courage to accept that my life was no longer my own. When He revealed to me that I was being sent back, a mixture of emotions rose inside me. Part of me wanted to stay in His presence forever, because nothing I had ever felt on earth could compare to the peace and love that flowed from Him. But another part of me knew that what He was entrusting me with was bigger than my desire to remain. I was being given a mission, a message for others. I remember looking again at the city around me. The people still wandered, lost in their confusion, unaware that hope stood so close. It was painful to see. I wanted to reach them, to shake them, to tell them that light and truth were real, that freedom was within reach. But I understood. This vision wasn't just for me to see. It was meant to be shared, to warn, and to wake people before it was too late. He showed me that the deception coming upon the world will not be like a sudden storm that people can prepare for in advance. It will creep in slowly, like shadows at dusk, until one day people will wake up surrounded by darkness without realizing how they got there. That thought filled me with urgency. How many will wait too long? How many will ignore the light until the darkness swallows them? Yet even in that heaviness, He reminded me again of hope. He revealed to me that anyone, no matter how lost, no matter how broken, can turn to Him and find their way home. The invitation is always open. The light is always ready to shine. But the choice is ours. He cannot force it on us. Each person must decide whether they will cling to Him, the truth, or drift away into confusion. At that moment, I realized my life could no longer be about chasing after my own plans, my own success, or my own comfort. I was being sent back to tell the world, time is short and the darkness is already rising. But the light, His light, is still here, and it is enough for anyone who will open their heart to it. Then, almost like a sudden pull, I felt myself being drawn away from that place. The city faded, His presence became more distant, and I was surrounded by a rushing sense of movement. It was like being carried on a wave, pulled between two worlds. I didn't want to let go of Him, but I could feel myself slipping back into my body, back into the broken shell that had been lying lifeless only moments before. When my eyes opened again, I was back in the wreckage of the car. My body ached in ways I can't describe, and the sounds of shouting, sirens, and hurried footsteps filled my ears. The weight of what I had just seen lingered in my spirit as if it had been carved into me. In the days that followed, as I lay in the hospital bed, I thought about what happened over and over again. It didn't fade like a dream. It stayed sharp, real, and undeniable. I had been shown something far greater than myself, a vision of where the world is heading, and a calling to speak while I still have breath. I realized how easily I could have crossed the line completely, how quickly life can be taken. And in that fragile space between life and death, one truth stood clear. Nothing matters more than knowing Jesus. Not money, not pride, not recognition, because when all of this ends, only His light remains. He had revealed to me that darkness is spreading across this world. Deception will grow stronger and many will be swallowed by it. But He also showed me that there is still hope. There is still a light bright enough to cut through the deepest night. That light is Him. And it is available right now for anyone who will open their heart and receive it. So here I am, sharing my story with you, not because I am perfect or worthy, but because I was given another chance. I was sent back with a mission, to tell you that time is short and the choice is real. Don't wait until the darkness surrounds you. Don't wait until the light seems out of reach. Choose Him now. Hold on to His truth while it is still day, because night is coming. I speak these words with love, because I know what it feels like to stand in that place of hopeless wandering. And I also know what it feels like to stand in His presence, where love is pure and peace is endless. That is where He wants us all to be, not lost in the city of shadows, but alive in His light. Thank you for walking with me through my testimony. If it has touched your heart, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments, and to subscribe so you won't miss more stories like this. Let us walk together in faith, reminding one another that no matter how dark this world becomes, the light of Jesus will always shine brighter.